Hi, my name is MachineRite, and this is Understanding Fortnite. So this is going to be the first map on my channel that I didn't totally create by myself. This is a 1v1 aim duels map that I helped Donwozi and Ranux make. So if you're unfamiliar with aim duels, basically all it is we're simplifying the game and we're cutting out the element of building and we're basically just focusing on aim. The reason 1v1 aim duels are good is we're getting rid of the rest of the mechanics in the game and we're focusing just on aiming and moving. And basically that allows us to introduce that concept that I mentioned in my other video talking about the implicit memory. We're giving our brains a little bit of extra room to self-correct. It's very hard to self-correct when you're fully focused on something, but when you can have that little bit of extra room in your working memory, you tend to learn a skill a lot faster. Another thing that's good with aim duels is you're actually aiming at what you would be aiming in game, and there's a lot of small details that you can actually pick up with characters because you can actually learn all of the animations of the characters that you're aiming at and actually learn to start predicting them a little bit instead of just being totally reactive with all of your aiming. Okay, so the way this map works is you go and you select your health option that you want to use, and then that's highlighted, and you can select your map, whatever you want to do. This barrier here is really useful because it puts a ceiling above your head for all of these maps, which basically can make it more realistic to like being inside a box and fighting somebody. So the way that I'd recommend that you practice this is I would actually recommend playing every single one of these maps when you play, but depending on how much time you have, I would actually use the health to regulate that. So let's say you only wanted to practice for 30 minutes. You can actually set the health to 1000 and basically still have time to play through all of these maps in that amount of time. Let's say you wanted to practice aim for about an hour and just get a good practice session in, then you could set it to 5000 just like Croters and play through all of these maps. If you were trying to target a weakness with your aim and really try to just focus on it for a good week or something, then you could probably select the 20,000 or 10,000 health options. That's going to take a long time to get through. Each map is probably going to take about 10 minutes. Getting into the maps and what weapons to use, you have all your weapons over on the wall here. Basically, I'm going to pretty much focus mainly on 3 weapons, which is the attack shotgun, the pump, and the SMG. And we're going to be using the ARs for the glider map. So ideally, I would run 5,000 health and start with the classic map with a barrier on top. I would do 1 run with an SMG, and then I would come back and do 1 run with the shotgun, and basically rinse and repeat that process for every single one of these basic maps. For the dynamic maps, I would do the same thing for all the 2x2s. Do 1 run of SMG, 5000 health, and 1 run of attack shotgun, 1000 health. For the 3x3 and the 4x4, I would play them a bit different. I would select probably a little bit lower health just to save time. If you look around in these maps, you're going to see a lot of familiar positions. Like this railing, for example, is meant to emulate this edit, and this wall piece would obviously be emulating this peanut butter edit. If you've ever watched my peak video, you may recognize this position. It's basically that jump peak with the cone here that I show. And yeah, the idea with these dynamic maps is to have lots of good angles that you can basically learn to recognize and play around. Basically just practice the angles without having the added focus required to actually do the builds and the edits. And you actually just focus on doing the peaks and the angles as cleanly as possible. So yeah, just to recap that, the 3x3 and the 4x4 I would do with a pump shotgun only, and basically just try to play the angles and try to play the peaks as best you can. So the glider map is probably the most unique out of all these. It's basically like a game of leapfrog where you just take turns. One glides while the other shoots. It's got this really cool barrier system that blocks the launch pads when you're not supposed to be using them, just to make the gameplay very seamless. We've also put in some short pads and basically some different distance launches. Launches from low ground to high ground, different things that you may be doing in game. With a glider map, I'd recommend using 1000 health and basically just picking up all the ARs that you may want to use. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Big thanks to these guys for making this map. This map is super advanced. It's kind of like pretty much beyond like anything that I would have ended up making. And yeah, hopefully I get to do more stuff with these guys in the future. So yeah, thanks guys.